Hello everybody, it's Nym and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're here for the first time. Today I am going to show you a landscaping tutorial. We are going to go over all these things, every single one of them, what it is, how to work in it, and we are going to create an entire map. So I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. First thing I always want to do is have a look at the surrounding areas. You can see I chose a tropical map just because that is my favorite map to play at. I really love the surrounding areas. As you can see, we have like a lot of mountains in the backdrop. So we kind of want to build something in here that has mountains as well, so that it's kind of, it matches. That's important. You also see a lot of plants, like a lot of plant, well, trees. First things first, we have this entrance here. We don't need that. We're gonna delete that. We don't want that. Delete path. There we go. And that's gone. We don't really need that. There's still a little bit of path left. Away. There you go. Now, here you have these borders. And it is quite a big area that we have. It goes all the way to there, and then all the way there. It is quite big. And we're gonna fill up the entire map. What I wanna do first is create a mountain. But before we are gonna do that, I'm actually gonna go over the terrain tools with you. So that's my cat meowing in the background, I'm sorry. Here you have all the different kind of terrain thingies that you can actually make. So we have pull, push, flatten to foundation, flatten to surface, flatten to terrace, roughen, smooth, and sizzle. Now, obviously click these with the left mouse button. And then here you have the intensity, the size, scenery look, automatic paint. I never really touch these, to be honest. Highlight, hidden barrier. I always do that because then you know when you actually have your barrier things. So the size speaks for itself. This is the paintbrush now to the size 4. You can see it's very small. If I size this up to size 20, it's a lot bigger. The intensity is how fast it will go. So here it will go a lot faster and a lot higher. When you are actually terraforming, I always like to use the biggest things. Because as you can see, our map is really big and the 20 brush is not that big actually. So here's the push. Obviously, it pulls the terrain out. It just makes it higher you want. Now actually the pull, my apologies, the push will push it back, so it will flatten it. Or well, not completely flatten it, we'll push it back. If you put the push on a already flattened area, it will make it lower. And you can go really deep. Now, flatten to foundation is something I personally love. Flatten to foundation, it gets the point where you are. Right now I'm at this point, so everything around the terrain will only become this high. Doesn't matter where I put it, it will be this high. If I use this one, you can actually make it higher and it will be up to this level. Same with this. I like to use this in my mountains. I just randomly put it there and then I pull it out. Yes, it's not mathematics, it's not science, it's feeling. It's all feeling, at least for me it's all feeling. I just kind of do something and then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I kind of like this, whatever. Now, flatten to surface. It actually creates these rifts. I never really use this because I don't really know how to properly use it in a build. I mean, for ramps it's pretty cool, but that's about it. Now, sizzle will obviously make it look like it's kind of like erosion. And it will delete small portions. Smoothen will make the area smooth. You can see here it's really rough. And if I smooth it over, it will look nicer. It won't look that, rough. Now the opposite is for roughen. It will make it look rough. And it will make it look like hard bits are sticking out. And I actually quite like it. Now flatten to terrace, of terrace. I do believe, yeah. So you can kind of get like steps in here. Like a real terrace would. And that's pretty cool. mean, like for temple builds or you know, other stuff. And it's pretty cool. Now, the terrain stamp tool basically allows you to make basic shapes. So the height and the width, you can adjust that. And I can make little squares. And perhaps I don't want to, or I want a square, but I want a little bit of a higher square. There. Same with the sphere. Just, you know, making them like this. You can also put them in the air. Just like that. Same goes for the cylinder. Now pressing shift, again, we'll put it back to the original foundation and the pyramid as well. I know, perhaps I want a pyramid here. Look, it has a hat. Now, terrain paint obviously speaks for itself. And that's just experimenting with what you like and how you would actually like it. Different kinds of soils. Yeah, that's just whatever. Now, the water. We have different kinds of water. Let me just make a body of water for a minute. Let's whoosh, and then flatten this foundation to make it really big. There we go. We have the calm water. So you can see the water is really easy. Now, if you click your right mouse button, the water will delete. And then you have rough water. You will see these little wrinkles in the water. You can also see the sunlight, you know. This body moves. This water is easy for like puddles. And this water you will use for when you actually have like a flowing stream. Now, select the water. You can have the cleanliness, the temperature, and you can actually, you know, change the way the water looks. So maybe you're like, oh, I'm in the Amazon. I'm gonna have this Amazon type of water. You can say like, oh, I don't want any transparent. I want bubbles in there. I want a mist going over it. I'm guessing I have to press play for that. Yeah, see, we have bubbles and we have this mist going over it now. That's pretty cool. And we can also say, now I want a natural color. You know, and all those things you can just do. Now, we have gone through the entire terrain bit now. I'm actually going to, can I bulldoze everything? Probably can't. I'm just going to flatten to foundation everything again. And then we are going to start. So now we're gonna start. I always like to start with a mountain. And this is like a big decision you're gonna make. This is the first big decision. Where am I going to place my mountain? Now, I'm a sucker for waterfalls, as you will all know. I love putting waterfalls in my builds. So I want to create a mountain with a waterfall. And then I have to think about, you know, a waterfall, the water goes down and the water moves. It moves somewhere. So I'm not gonna build my mountain in the middle because then the water will have no natural flow of it. So I kind of want to have my mountain a little bit more to the side, like not in the direct corner because that'd be really awkward. And perhaps I'd like him there. So I go to my terrain tools, I have everything on the biggest size and I just press the terrain and I wait. And that's it. You basically just wait until you're like, you know what, I think this is pretty high enough. It's almost there. There. I feel like this is pretty big enough. Now I'm going to use flatten to foundation. Because this is not a mountain. This is like a weird shape. You know, seeing it what you like. But I'm going to make this into a mountain. That's why I didn't put it all the way back here. Because then you can't terraform around it. So, first one of the thing I'm going to do is going to put this on the top. And then just drag it down and create a little bit of a natural mountain shape. Now this is all up to you. Whatever you want is your mountain. So perhaps you want a really big mountain. Perhaps you want a mountain that's like massive. Perhaps you want a little bit of a small mountain. That is all up to you. Like it's whatever you want. There are no mistakes here. It's your terrain. It's whatever you want. Do bear in mind that you do want to have a little bit of a platform on the top of the mountain for reasons I will show you in a minute. You can see here we have a little bit of trouble with the shadow. So I'm just going to see if I can find a time. I can't. That's annoying. Perhaps if I turn the flashlight on. Well, it doesn't do anything. Well, that sucks. You know, sometimes the shadows, it's just... they're there. There. I feel like this is a pretty cool mountain. Almost there. We're almost there. Yeah. A little bit like that. Yeah, now up here I'm gonna make a little bit of a platform. And then I go a little bit above that, just a little bit. And perhaps roughen this up a little bit. Yes. Just a little bit higher. Because we want a natural body of water in here, but the water has to go, like it has to come from somewhere. So it has to look kind of natural. I feel like this is, natural enough. Now, in order to make this entire thing look nice, because it's not actually looking that nice, we are going to smooth it out. Now, and it's up to you how smooth you like it. Perhaps you want it a little bit smooth, perhaps you want it entirely smooth. I just like to put it on the max smoothness and just go around it like this. Just so that the entire rough edges are a little bit, gone. We're looking at a very old mountain here. Old mountains have almost no rough edges at all because it's very old and there's been a lot of water going over these rocks. And I can see that I'm not very happy with the way that it looks back here. And I feel like this is way better. It's much more what I like. Like I said, old mountains had a lot of water, a lot of erosion, so they're smoother. If you're looking at new mountains, they have pikes, because there hasn't been that much water on it yet. Now, we want to make a body of water in here. We're going to go to push pool. Now, this is way too big, so we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Now we're going to go flat into foundation. And we need to be careful, because we need this little edge there to be. We need the edge to be as small as we possibly can. Now this, we can't put water in here because now there's a little hole. So Control Z and make sure you have the tiny edge with no holes in there. That's the trick. And this can be a very tedious moment. And it can take a lot of time, and that's completely fine. That doesn't really matter. Now take your time. I'm wondering, is there? No, there's not a hole, that's good. Just go right up on the edge. Just as far as you're comfortable with. See, there's a hole, so Control Z. You know not to touch that area again. There. A little bit out. And now obviously we're gonna flatten this as well. Now we're gonna go to our water, and we want rough water. And we can see, we can put it right up to the edge. Now that's pretty cool, right? And perhaps I want another little bit of body of water here. I could do that, just a little body of water. Just like that. Rough water again. Now this is not coming up to the edge the way that I'd like it to be. I'm just gonna see if I can fix that. Because that means there's a hole somewhere. There. Now, does this look like a waterfall? No, of course not, because it's not done yet. This looks like two weird bodies of water, and that's basically what it is. But we're gonna go to our construction, special effects, water. Now, in an update like a year ago or something, we got these waterfalls, and everything in my game automatically snaps to the surface. So you click on this little notepad thingy, and align to surface, turn it off, you select it again. Now you can see here, it might be a little bit too tall. As you can see, like there's a little bit of space. Because if you press play on this, you'll see it actually creates water. So you can't have water floating around in there. So perhaps these aren't the best things to use. So we're gonna go old school. We're gonna go with these. See, that's better. Now you have the natural one that look nice, and you have the murky ones. Let's see. It's always the question, where are they? Yes, here. And they're a little bit more brown. I feel like this is more natural. Because face it, the water will look like this. Now, I always like to place this almost in the rock and then just go around, slightly rotating it. Like that. And then look at it from a distance and I feel like, well, perhaps I should have one more here and one more here. This is the basic waterfall shape. Now I don't want it to overflow everywhere. But perhaps even this one is a little bit unrealistic. There we go. Now this does not look like a waterfall yet. Because we still have the bottom. And that's my cat again. Hi. This bottom one, be careful that you select the murky one, murky bottom. And this one is basically like the splash, as you can see. So I like to put these just under the water. If you put them too far down, you won't see it, too far up, and you will actually see it, like floating above it. So that's really weird. So I kind of like to place it just under the water surface. Just a little bit like that. And you can see, it's just under the water. It's just under the water, and I feel like that looks very natural. Now, apart from this, we also have to do something about this top, because this does not look like a real waterfall. And therefore, we have the murky top. Now, this waterfall is 10 meters, so I'm gonna select the top for 10 meters as well. And I'm just gonna, freely place these. I feel like they would be better to use a little bit excessive. And perhaps, some here. There. This looks way more like a waterfall. Obviously, we're not done here because no waterfall is without rocks. And that'd be really weird if you have like a waterfall without any rocks. So we're gonna go into nature, rocks, and we're gonna go to filters. And you can actually filter by biome. So we're gonna filter the tropical. Now you have these normal tropical ones, and you have the tropical ones with moss on them. Obviously, and then we have the dynamic moss thing also. You have 3 different kinds of rocks. Obviously, we're at a waterfall, so this one would not happen that much, only perhaps on the sides. This one is very mossy. I don't really like to use it. I feel like it's too green. Personally, I like to use these. Because no matter how you rotate it, because if we align it to the surface, it will always get moss on the top. And that's pretty cool. See the difference? So I like to use these ones. And what I like to do, usually I build a little stone set, but we're gonna do that later. Just for the waterfall, I'm gonna show you what I'd like to do. We have it set aligned to surface. Now we're just gonna shift and move it up. So you press shift and then you move it in the waterfall. Same with here, press shift and move it in. Now perhaps for this side we do want to use the mossy ones because we're in the waterfall. And it's really up to you which rock you use and how big you make the rock. That's all up to you. Perhaps you like this rock to become a little bit out of it, just like that. I feel that looks pretty cool. Now, the waterfalls I know always have kind of rocks just sitting at the bottom. Just, 1 or 2 there. And now what you can do is you can go back to your waterfall and you can go to the, not the water splash, the foam. Let's see. Rapid foams. And this will actually allow you to make a little bit of acceleration if placed correctly. Now I have, that's the problem. I had align to surface off, make sure that's off. And just, now as you can see, like the foam kind of goes around here, same with here. And it goes around the rock. And I feel that looks pretty natural. Now, in order to make this a very nice waterfall, obviously we're gonna have to have some foliage. Now, we already filtered by tropical, which is fine. Lilies are nice, but think about it. Would you see lilies in a waterfall? No, because they'd float away. So that's pretty unrealistic. Now, these ones are my personal favorites. I love these. So I'm just gonna stick one of two of them in here. And remember to use different shapes as well. You can, you know, rotate them and make it look a little bit more tropical. Personally, I like to use align to surface for a lot of these and just make it look neat. Just like that. You can even choose to put like this big tree and sink it in a little bit so you get a bit of foliage. That's what I love to do with big trees. Just sink them into the terrain and use them as bushes. You can see right there. Now there is this one tree. Let's see if I can find it. The red one. Where did it go? These. These are my personal favorite, and I love sinking them in the waterfall sides because you get this idea that the foliage is kind of growing on the water, and I love that. It looks so cool in my opinion, and I'm absolutely in love with the way that it looks. Obviously, don't overdo it. But then again, you know, it is your waterfall. It's in the end, it's your decision. So build whatever you want. But I would be careful with doing that because otherwise it can look really weird. Now I'm just gonna build this waterfall, and then we are gonna go back and we are gonna do the next part of the map. As you can see, we still have a lot to go, and we only have done this little bit now. So as you can see, our waterfall is basically done now. It looks way better than before. Let me just see. We have a body of water, we have some plants, there's some rock work around it. Obviously, it's not perfect. Okay, and it doesn't have to be. It's a way of showing you guys how I like to do it. And normally I would build this entire mountain full of rocks and everything, but I am gonna put this map on the workshop, and I don't think it would be fair to build it completely full and have people with computers that aren't as good as mine to crash and their computer will burn when they open it, and I won't have that. So right now we have this. Now I was thinking about putting more waterfalls down here, but I actually don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna create a little bit more mountains, you know, just underneath here. Just fill this up and have the terrain speak for itself. I feel like this looks like a pretty natural mountain for now. You can see the waterfall going up there. It's pretty cool. We have our body of water, so you know, that's pretty nice. We could even reinforce this wall because it looks a little bit dense. So place one of these trees in here as well. It looks a little bit nicer already. And perhaps you can have some alligators in here, who knows? Or an animal, or no animal at all, that's all up to you. So right now you're like, oh well, we've done so good. Yeah, but then look. This you will need to do still. It's a lot of work. Like terraforming a map, it's not something you do in an hour. It's really not. It's quite some work in there, and that's completely fine. Just take your time for it. And when you feel like you can't handle it anymore, just close the game, do something else, come back later. That's completely a good approach to it, because don't work on your map when you're actually not up for it. That will only result in a very ugly map. Or something you're not happy with. I shouldn't say ugly, something you're not completely happy with. Well, so we have this mountain here now. The next step, like you have to think of what you want. And what do I want? I have a mountain now, but I don't have a lake. So that's the two things I have now. I have a mountain, I have something high, but I don't have something low. So you want to build something low. Now, you don't want to build it next to the mountain, but fairly close to it. So perhaps I'm going to build it here. And, you know, I'm thinking ahead, like perhaps I want some animals to be able to actually go in there. So it has to be relatively big. Now, first things I like to do is make kind of a rough shape. Just so that I know what my body of water will look like. And to be fair, I don't have something in mind when I do this. I just move my brush along here. And it will look very static and not dynamic at all, not natural. And that's completely fine for now. Because we're gonna change that in a minute anyways. But I know like this is something that I'd want. This is not very natural. It has like some weird curves and it's not leading anywhere. Like it could go from the mountain. Actually, when I'm thinking of how this is gonna get water, perhaps there's this inner source here. So let's move it down a little bit. Just perhaps there's this inner source in the mountain where there's actually water. That could be fun. There. I've just decided. Let's just turn on my flashlight and see. I can't actually see any. Oh wait, now it's on. Is it on? I don't know. I just had a good image. It's actually whole. Okay, that's nice. Now, so it goes to this large body of water, but perhaps it's also goes this way. Like that could happen. It can go here. That's fine. And then perhaps here there's a little bit of a tiny lake. Like a little bit of a puddle. That's completely fine. Just like that. Same goes for this way. Like this would look like a natural spot of erosion, so we're gonna go this way. Don't know where we're heading yet, but we're gonna go there. And it's a little bit of a meandering river. I feel like I've lost... oops, sorry, wrong one. I lost my depth. There we go. we're gonna end up here. There. Now, as you can see, this corner here, a lot of water would go there, so it wouldn't actually be standing out like this, because the water would actually beat this down. So this is gonna go away. And it will actually become a little bit more like this. This is more natural. Same with here. This would go a little bit bigger. Just like that. And this in the end would be only small. There. Wow, this looks almost too real. There. Now, I don't want to do anything more with it right now, but I do know it's gonna have some rough water in it. Sometimes it takes a little while to actually... Yeah, there we go, we put some water in there. Now, can I go higher? I can. I like to put the body of water like almost all the way to the top. That's my personal preference, because then you have like this little bit of a shoreline where the water is almost overflowing the land. And I personally really like that. There, look, we have a lot more right now. Obviously, the terrain around water isn't flat. It fluctuates. So what I like to do, I like to grab my flattened foundation, click it somewhere on the mountain, and then move it down here, and kind of do this. Just a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. Also here on the water side, you know, you'd have like ups and downs. Especially in these corners, and then perhaps this bit's a little bit higher. Perhaps you even have some lows. So right here, we're gonna make it a little bit lower. We're gonna go through our terrain and just make it look nice. Now, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna do it on the whole map. I'm gonna quickly just smooth this out. Especially along the water line, that's quite important that you smooth it out correctly. Now, smoothing takes a lot of time. Smoothing is a tedious work, and when I smooth, I usually have Netflix on my second screen because I hate smoothing. It takes too long, and when you think you're done, you turn this camera around and you're like, oh, missed the spot. And then you have to do it all over again from a different angle. I don't like it. There, once you smooth everything out, you can actually go with the water, now calm water this time, and select tiny puddles. It doesn't need to be everywhere, but some. There. Oh, oops. There we go. Just some puddles. Now it makes it look more natural, especially along the river, you know, you have like these little caverns underground. See what I told you about smoothing? There. And I feel like that looks more natural. When you look top down, you have a lot more life in your landscape actually. So that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of the map as well. I'm gonna build some more mountains, and then I'm gonna build some body of waters. Well, and there we are again. So as you can see now, I have terraformed the whole map. There are still some areas which are flat, which is fine, because remember, you do want some easy pathing, because pathing up hills can be very tricky. So it has to, you know, sometimes you have to adjust the terrain a little bit, and that's fine. So that's why you have also these flat areas, just so that the pathing is a little bit easier. Here I let it be a little bit rough on purpose. I did forget to put some water here. And sometimes a little bit of these bodies of water just, you know, randomly click, see where there can be water. And that's completely fine. And again, I forgot to smooth this, which is of course fine as well. There. Now this map is not done. The terraforming is done, and I've put in a second waterfall here with the standard waterfalls. And I feel like that looks actually quite nice. And I do see that I forgot to make sure you can't actually see the actual rocks. I'm just gonna a little bit adjust it, which is completely fine. Like if you see something that doesn't add up, feel free to adjust it. Like, you know, it's the plan is adaptable. Do what you feel. There. Now I don't really like the way this back looks, so I'm just gonna flatten the foundation and make it look a little bit more natural, smooth it out. This looks better. So, and this is the downside that I made it so close to the edge of the map. I can't actually make it look really smooth the way that I did here. And that's just because the map ends here. So something that would have been better is to build this waterfall perhaps here. And that way I could have smoothing out the terrain very easily, and now it's kind of abrupt. But at the same side, who is going to look at the terrain like this? No one. So now what we need to do, we need to add some trees. Because this is quite bare again, and we need to add some rock work. I like to start with the rock work first, and I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to go into the tropical rocks because we are in a tropical biome, and if you're in a temperate, you will use temperate. If you're in tundra, you use tundra, you know, same old, same old. And I'm actually going to select one of these rocks, and I'm going to align them to the surface. And then I'm going to grab one of these, I'm going to place them right in there. Then I'm gonna go with our dynamic rocks, and I'm gonna sink them just a little bit in, just so that it looks really natural. And you can do this with as many rocks as you please. Like, that doesn't really matter. Just make it look, you know, nice. And what's nice is different for every person. I personally like to do something like this. And then we have a rock work, but we're not done yet. We are going to actually make this into a group. Duplicate it, place one there. And then we are going to edit our group. We're going to go into nature, and we're actually going to add some plants here, just to make it look that bit nicer. Now I have obviously saved some of these because I use them a lot, and I sink these in and I make them look like bushes, and it makes it look a lot more dynamic. So why did I save this one here? Because sometimes you just want bare rock without any, you know, bushes on there, and that's fine as well. Just do what you like. In the end, it is your map. I could even place some of these up here. Perhaps one here. There. Could even put this old tree in here. Just like that. Exit a group. Now, we have a group. This is going to be the rock work what we are going to use a lot. So for instance here, so I'm just going to place this, and actually as a matter of fact I'm going to remove this branch. It's fun for some but not for all. There. And we're just going to place this all over, well, all over, just where you seem fit, and that's really up to you where you like it and what you want to do with it. And there we are. As you saw, I also added some foliage in here. This is our finished map. Let me just view you guys over it. So what we've done, we've gone from this to this. And I have to say I'm really happy with the results. This map will be on the workshop. I will put a link in the description down below. You can download it. You can make a zoo out of it. If you do, let me know. I'm really excited to see it then, to see what you've done with the map. And again, don't feel like obligated to leave it the way it is now. Perhaps you want a little bit more mountains. Perhaps you want a little bit less. That is all completely fine. Do whatever you want with it. It's just a suggestion. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will be excited to make your own terraformed maps right now. If you guys do, please let me know as well. I'll be really excited to see what sort of maps you guys come up with, and perhaps, who knows, maybe I can build a zoo on your guys' map. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Anyways, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel for more amazing content like this, and I will hope to see you on the next video. Bye guys!